Hello everyone and welcome to this new lecture. In the previous lecture, we have been able to get an overview of functions and what functions do, and we've been able as well to define our own function and as well call that function, okay? In this section, we're going to look at kind of a little bit simpler actually example into how can we use some of the built-in functions that has already been made for us within Python environment. All right, so if you guys take a look at this table, okay, let's zoom in a little bit. You will find that there is a lot of functions, like for example, min. There is like sum. There is, let's say, max. There are so many different functions in here that has already been made for us. You don't need to go and define them again. So let's take a look at how can we do that. All right. So let's assume that I have, for example, a list, okay? And let's define that list, which is equals to, let's say, 4, 5, 1, 2, 8, and 5, okay? And let's run it. So here we go, that's my list. And let's define, for example, y, another list, and I'm gonna call y, for instance, let's say list, and I'm gonna use our word range, and I'm gonna list from 1 till 7. All right, shift enter. Let's take a look, for example, at x, here we go. And let's take a look at y, here we go. Now we have numbers from 1 till up till and excluding 7, right? So from 1, 2, 3 up until 6. All right, okay, looks good. So what I could do, we're gonna say, okay, let's use one of these ready-made functions for us. So let's, for example, pick an easy one. Let's pick, for instance, the len, or length, which is length for short. So if I say len, and I can pass along here my value x, shift enter, it will return simply how many elements were contained within our list x. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 elements. All right. Let's maybe take a look at length of y. We'll come up as well with 6 elements because we have 6 elements in here, okay? All right, looks good. What if I wanted, for example, to pick maybe another function? Maybe pick, let's say, the min function, or let's say the max functions. Let's take a look at it. So I'm gonna say, okay, min of x, enter. You'll come up with number 1 because this is the least value, or the minimum value within my list. Let's take a look at the max. So I'm gonna say max of x. Here we go. We come up with a value of 8, which is the maximum value within our function. All right. Okay, great. Okay, let's take a look at another function. So if you go up here, you will find that there is a function called tuple, okay, which is simply can convert from a list to a tuple, okay, which is really powerful. So let's see how can we do that. What we could do, we could say, okay, z equals to tuple of x. So simply I took my value x, which is simply here my list, and I'm going to convert it to tuple. Shift enter. If I take a look at z, here we go. Now it doesn't become square bracket anymore. It's became parentheses. And if I take a look at type of z, here you go. You come up with tuple. If you guys recall, tuple are immutable. That means you can't write on it, right? You can't write to it, right? Okay. Let's take a look at another example. Maybe let's sum up, let's say, these two lists together. Let's sum up all the x and all the y together. How can we do that? So what we could do, we're going to say, okay, print the summation of, let's say, x plus summation first, let's say, of, for example, first I'm going to print summation of x. So that will sum up all the elements within x first. Let's take a look at it. So print sum x, shift enter, here we go, that's 25, okay? And what I want you guys to do, again, this is kind of a mini challenge. Please go ahead, pause the video, and I want you to print all the summation of all the values here of the y list. Please go ahead, pause the video, and I'll see you guys after the challenge. All right, hope you guys were able to figure out the challenge. What I ask you guys to do is to simply print, and I wanted to print summation of all the values within y. Shift enter, here we go. We come up with 21, which is simply the summation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, what you could do as well, what I could do as well, I'm going to say, okay, let's go ahead and print, let's say, the summation values of x plus y, which is simply adding up all the elements within x, all the elements within y, and sum them up. Okay? Shift enter, here we go. You come up with 46, which is simply 25 plus 21. All right. Let's take a look at another built-in function, which we'll call it zip, okay? Which is again defined here somewhere. It's called zip, this one. Again, there are tons of functions. Obviously, I won't be able to cover all of them because it will take me like, a whole new course just to cover all these functions. Here, I'm just walking you through a couple of examples. You guys can go ahead and have additional readings, and maybe scan through all these functions if you wanted to. So what I wanted here to do is use the zip function to show you what it does. So we're going to define my list 1 equals to, let's say, 1, 3, and 5. I'm going to define another list, call it my list of 2, and here I'm going to put, for example, let's say 8, 2, and 9, shift enter, go. And what I wanted to do is to simply kind of, what zip does, it's just make an iterator that aggregates elements from each of the iterables. Okay, I know it sounds confusing, but let's see what we're going to do here. What I could do, we're going to say, okay, for I and j in zip, and I'm going to pass along my list 1, and I'm going to pass along my list 2, okay? And every time I'm going to print I and j, or maybe I plus j. Okay, shift enter, here we go. So now I've been able to simply kind of think of it as kind of, looking or aggregating all the parameters, that are corresponding to each other. So here I'm taking, okay, the first element 1 and 8, so I sum them up. So that's why I came up with 9. And then 3 plus 2, I summed them up, came up with 5. 5 and 9, sum them up, came up with 14. Something like that. All right, okay, sounds good. So let's take a look at another example. Let's assume that I wanted to go back, if you guys remember our greetings function. So let's define our greetings function. So I'm going to say, okay, define greetings function. And I'm going to pass along here my name and my greeting. All right. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to say print Happy New Year, exclamation mark here, curly brackets, I wish you, well, whatever, happiness or something. I'm going to say dot format. I'm going to pass along here my name and pass along my greetings. Shift enter, looks good. And let's actually test the function first. We actually have done that before in the previous section. Please refer to the previous lecture for more details. So I'm going to say function, and I can pass along here my name or whatever name. And I can here pass along as well, let's say happiness. Shift enter, Happy New Year, Ryan, I wish you happiness. Okay, looks great. Okay. What I wanted to do right now is I wanted to use a zip kind of function to iterate across all these elements. So let's actually copy them. So now I have 2 lists, Lila, Mitch, Chanel, Steve, Sin. Here I have happiness, success, love, wealth, and health. And what I wanted to do is to simply go ahead and use a zip to simply call the function several times and send along Lila and then happiness, Mitch and then success, Chanel and then love, and so on. Actually, let's try it as a challenge. Please go ahead, pause the video, and try to go ahead, use a zip in the exact same format as we have done here to print, again, Lila, happiness, Mitch, success, and so on, using the greetings function. Please go ahead, pause the video, and I'll see you guys after the challenge. All right, I hope you guys were able to figure out the challenge. What I ask you guys to do is to simply use for I and let's say j in zip. It's exactly the same as before. And I'm going to pass along the name list, and I'm going to pass along greetings list. All right. And what I could do, I'm going to say greetings list, which is my greetings function. Now I need to call the function, and I'm going to pass along I and j in there. Shift enter, and here we go. Now I have Happy New Year Lila, for example, because it's first name, I wish you happiness. And then Happy New Year Mitch, second name, I wish you success. Happy New Year Chanel, I wish you love, and so on, so forth. Okay, and that's kind of a quick example to show you how can we use the zip function to kind of, separate or kind of assign, let's say, names to each other here, kind of unpack them in a way in these variables, and then we can use the variables to sum them up, send them to a function, or do whatever with them afterwards. All right, and that's pretty much all what I have for this lecture. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's recap. In this lecture, we have been able to kind of take a look at some of built-in functions. We've been able to take a look at, like tuple function, zip function, and max, min, and length as well. And that's pretty much all what I have for this lecture. I hope you guys enjoyed it. In the next lecture, we're going to keep going and we're going to have some more advanced functions in the next lecture. Best of luck, and I'll see you guys in the next one.